Hello, everyone. We are going live. There we go. All right. Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome. How is everyone doing today? So it is Wednesday. I got this amazing shirt on Etsy. It's an orthopedic joke. Okay. Nursing orthopedic joke. I thought it was funny and cute. So anyways, today we are going to talk about secret sauce to strength gains after 35 recovery. So if you are wondering, how does recovery fit into strength gains? It's actually super, super important. But let's start here. Who am I? If you are new here, welcome. Very happy to have you. I am Dr. Nicole Smith. I am the founder of Anti-Gravity Wellness. Anti-Gravity Wellness is a telemedicine practice here in Washington State. We are going to be expanding into Oregon State here very soon. We're working on the credentialing. And what we do is focus on women over the age of 35, particularly ones who are struggling with perimenopause and menopause. So we're specialty practice. This is on top of your primary care doctor, on top of your OBGYN. The reason why menopause is such a specialty is because it's very nuanced. There's a lot going on, and not a lot of providers have had the training or even have the time to really dive deep into all of the facets of perimenopause and menopause. And I do just that. That's all that I do. And I freaking love it, which is really kind of funny because when I first started this practice 4 years ago, I thought I was just going to do nutrition, do a lot of meal planning and things like that. Had really great results with people, and fitness, and was doing both men and women. And then I started specializing in men. Actually, I got 2 advanced trainings in men's hormonal health, by the way. So I can do that. But as I started, I was like, oh, women are complicated. We're so complicated. I fell prey to the same narrative that a lot of people do, that women are just too complicated. And this is why there's not enough studies done on women, because go back over here, because we have cycles and we have fluctuating hormones. And especially when we start going through perimenopause, holy crap, these things get crazy. Our progesterone starts to go down, then our estrogen can get relatively high or will actually go high, and then it goes low, and then it go high again. Testosterone starts declining, our adrenals are taxed, and our cortisol levels are crazy, more so than before. Our thyroid can take a hit. So many things are changing in a woman's body, and it can be very hard to pin it down. And it's kind of interesting. I've seen out there's a company in particular, I keep seeing their advertisements on Facebook, and they pride themselves or advertise or whatever that they don't check your labs. They just throw you on whatever they think you should be on. And then I find that irritating because I don't guess, I test. Yes, things are fluctuating in perimenopause, but really just in the last half. In the first half of perimenopause, you're still pretty regular. We can time these things to see what's going on. But to say that we're not going to test at all to see what's underlying, are we even looking at the thyroid? Are we looking at the adrenals? Are we looking at the gut? Are we looking at anemia? Because, oh, you're tired, could be perimenopause, could be you're anemic. I've come across that several times. And even I had one client in particular, we fixed her hormones and she was feeling better in that department. Her testosterone's better, progesterone's better, estrogen's better. But guess what? Even despite some dietary changes, her anemia was not getting any better. And she was still really tired. I'm like, that's why. You're still anemic. So let's work on that. So we're going to go harder on the supplementation and make sure that you're getting what you need. We'll recheck again in a couple months and see where things are at. So I'm a big believer in testing, and I'm a big believer in functional testing and functional labs. And maybe that's from my own experience where I wasn't feeling well, and I was going into my late 30s, and I knew something was wrong, and I've been struggling for so long. I'm like, just tired of this. But I go to my primary doctor, went to my OB. We did the regular routine labs that even I was trained that this is what you do, and that's it. And they're like, well, your labs are normal. So, just whatever, do some lifestyle things, and very vague advice, right? And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just like need to suck it up. But months later, I'm not any better. I've been making some changes and I'm like, no, something is wrong. So I went to a naturopath doctor. We did some deeper testing. We did a full thyroid panel, not just a TSH, but a free T4, free T3, and some antibodies, and found that my T3 was low. My body was stressed out. I wasn't converting the thyroid hormone into the active form of thyroid, even though my TSH was fine, my free T4 was fine. The T3, the active form, was low. And then I also had chronic adrenal stress, like down regulation of that system. So instead of a nice curve of my cortisol during the day, it was like up and then flatlined. I'm like, yeah, that corresponds. That's, yep, right around that time. That's when I cannot keep my eyes open. It is painful how tired I am. So diving into that and then being able to reverse some things for myself. And then I'm looking around and I'm listening to other, women that I work with and my clients. And it's like, oh yeah, for sure. We all kind of have this issue and a lot of us are not getting the help that we need. So I dove in deeper. I did some more training on it and I'm going to get my board certification in menopause next June, I believe, is when the next testing date is. And we do it twice a year. So, but I've been really loving it. It's been really rewarding and amazing working with these women who they weren't able to find help anywhere else. You're going to hear me harp a lot, especially this month, because we're talking about the Flat Belly Challenge. It's coming up in January. It is, enrollment is active right now. And we do have a special discount for New Year's that's going on right now. So if you're interested, DM us, send us Flat Belly. You can comment Flat Belly. We will get you all the information plus a free gift. But we're going to talk about okay. So first of all, why does that even happen? Why is flat belly even a thing that we're talking about in midlife and menopause? When our estrogen levels start to decline, it becomes really difficult for us to actually lose that belly fat because estrogen is what's called an anabolic hormone. It actually builds muscle and burns fat. And as that starts to decline, other signals start taking over. And the estrogen also tells fat cells where to go. And so it will tell it to go to the periphery, like into your butt and your legs, and not so much into the belly region. But as we start to lose that estrogen, we start to accumulate body fat in the center where men typically do. And that's more of a testosterone favoring profile. The problem with this, aside from aesthetically, we don't like it. We don't like having belly fat, but also it's a health risk because the more central fat we're carrying, the larger the waist is to the hip circumference. Waist to hip circumference is actually a very good measure, better measure, that is, of risk for metabolic disease, heart disease, things like that, than like BMI. BMI is antiquated and we really shouldn't be using it at all, but it's easy for insurance companies. But waist to hip ratio is very important. And it's because that central obesity, that fat that gets accumulated around the center, when it starts putting pressure in its deep fat, the visceral fat, so we got, layers of fat. You have the fat that's just underneath the skin, and then you've got the deep fat that's underneath. So it's around your internal organs. It's around your liver. It's around your stomach. It's around your intestines. It's around your kidneys. So when it accumulates in that area, it turns into a different type of fat. It becomes very inflammatory, although just excess fat in general is inflammatory. It literally releases inflammatory cytokines in the body. So that's another reason why having too much body fat is a bad thing. It really is a health risk. But this type of fat in particular, we know is linked to increased risk for heart disease, for diabetes, for metabolic syndrome, these things that cause a lot of health problems. And these are lifestyle health issues, chronic diseases of lifestyle, which is good news in that lifestyle can fix it. If lifestyle caused it, lifestyle can fix it. So I talk a lot about lifestyle because it is the upstream thing that we are trying to work on in order to improve people's health long term and in a sustainable way. So let's talk about recovery. So why is it essential for hormone and health energy? When we're going through perimenopause and menopause, our adrenals are already stressed out. So what's going on there? The cortisol levels, and I'm sure a lot of you heard about cortisol. Cortisol is one of our stress hormones. It is absolutely necessary for life. If you have no cortisol, you die. So we absolutely need it. If you have too much cortisol, that's a problem too. So, but we're talking about the not the extremes of the Western medicine sick ranges, but somewhere in between where we're not optimized. So functional medicine talks about optimization, and that's what my practice is all about. I want to get people optimized. So I'm not treating I do treat very sick people too, but I have a lot of clients that's what our goal is. And that's also why, by the way, insurance doesn't cover some of the things that I do because it's for health optimization. And they don't cover that, by the way. Insurance doesn't cover health optimization. They cover severe illness. So keep that in mind. So when you're coming to invest in your health, you're likely going to be paying from your own resources as opposed to only utilizing insurance. So that's a whole other topic, though. So we're looking at the optimized ranges. When we're talking about the adrenals, chronic stress on the body does something to the adrenals that the common nomenclature is adrenal fatigue, which is it's not accurate. So that's why, some people get really up in arms about that. It's more of a down regulation of the system. So just like it's very similar to when you're on a chronic diet. You've been dieting for a really long time, you'll notice that the calorie deficit that you originally started with, you get so far and then you plateau. And then you got to cut more calories. And then it works and then it stops working. What's happening is our bodies are so freaking smart. Okay. They're made to keep us alive and to survive. So it will adapt. And this is why metabolism can be so complicated. It is and it isn't. But it's constantly changing, and it's fascinating to me, and I freaking love it. When I dove deeper into this and was first, doing my practice with this, the way the metabolism works is that when you have a certain input, the body goes, okay, so it's constantly taking information from the outside world, constantly taking information from the food you're consuming, the water you're drinking, the sleep that you're getting or not getting, the inputs that you're giving it as far as your exercise or not exercising. All of these things are combining to affect your metabolism. And your metabolism is very adaptive, even from one day to the next. If you don't sleep very well one night, you'll notice the next day you're really hungry and you're craving carbs. That's your metabolism. So it's responding to that stress of not getting enough sleep. And in response, it's going, hey, we're really stressed out. Sleep is not a thing right now. We need to we need energy because it's stressful. So that's how the body compensates for that. When our cortisol levels are too high and then they stay there because you're under chronic stress, what happens is the body's going, I'm stressed. And what it doesn't want to do is let go of its stored energy because you're under stress. So you got to think about this from like caveman times. We're living in caves. We're running from tigers. It makes sense there. Even though in our modern world, with all of our comforts, it doesn't make sense anymore. But our bodies are still very primitive. We've only very recently in human history had all of these human comforts. So when we talk about perimenopause now, that is a stressful transition. It's like it's our second puberty. Our hormones are changing. And as our hormones change, the wiring of things needs to adapt to that. Some people have a very easy transition through that, relatively speaking. And their bodies are able to have the time to rewire everything. They might have some symptoms, it's a little uncomfortable, but they do okay. Other people, horrible, just horrible. Part of this is genetics. The other part is environmental factors and things you have going on going into it. So if you were already in a chronically stressed state, now you're in perimenopause, guess what? Let's go ahead and 10x that. So that's only going to make it worse. This is why recovery is so important. This is why you can't train the same way as you used to in your 20s and even in your early 30s, because pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing all the time, your body's not going to tolerate it like it used to. Arguably, should we have been doing that before? Probably not. But so when you're constantly doing like too much high intensity cardio, too much endurance training, and you're under eating, like the typical syndrome, I have a lot of women come to me who are doing the typical thing where I had one who's like my star. She was amazing and she had such a great transformation, but she was the very kind of typical story coming in, that she had had kids. The last one, she couldn't lose the baby weight. She was doing a lot of cardio. Every morning she was running 5 miles, and not necessarily like heavy, like fast running or anything. She was just like jogging 5 miles every morning. Wasn't really doing much strength training, wasn't eating breakfast, was skipping breakfast, and then kind of ate a little bit for lunch, and then ended up having like whatever from a vending machine because she's hungry and like had a snack. So some processed foods that have not enough nutrition in them, and then would have dinner. And slowly but surely, she was actually gaining weight with this approach. And, and she's like, I'm not eating that much and I'm exercising. Why isn't this working? Well, it's because your hormones have changed, especially after having children. You're going through perimenopause and your body's already stressed out, and you're stressing it out more by doing too much fasted exercise, too much cardio, not enough strength training, not enough rest, and eating foods that aren't fueling your body, that don't have the nutrition that you need. So we really worked on her diet, got her eating more protein, more whole foods, more regular meals, making sure she's fueling her training as opposed to going into it fasted, because that is not good for women, especially through perimenopause. Like, I'm just going to tell you straight up, don't do it. Just don't. If you are doing any type of exercise in the morning, have a snack before you go exercise. And it needs to be some protein and it needs to be some carbs. Carbs are protein sparing, muscle protein sparing. So if you have no carbs, your body's going to consume your own body. Okay. and not in a good way, not like you're fat, because it's, again, when the body's stressed out, it wants to save fat and wants to burn muscle. Seems counterproductive, but that's just kind of what it tends to do. So we want to make sure that we're fueling our exercise. And you think that, oh, I'm going to burn more calories when I'm fasted. It's not true. It's just not like if you look at the entire day, and they've done studies on this where they, and usually younger, either men or postmenopausal women, because they're not cycling anymore. And while, yes, you could be burning more calories during a fasted exercise session, after that session, you actually will burn less calories during the day than if you had a snack, then done your exercise, and then ate normally throughout the rest of the day. You'll burn more calories during that day. So we need to look at more than just that little session. But that does absolutely increase your stress response. And when we're already stressed out, this just compounds it. So we really need to make sure that we are being conscious of that and fueling our bodies properly to take care of our hormones. So always think about that. Is this going to fuel my hormones while also being delicious, of course? And all of the meals from Anti-Gravity are super delicious, by the way. So my favorite tools, I want to talk to you guys about this book. Chat a little bit longer here. Okay. Oh, my connection's not great. Sorry. So this is one of my favorite books, Becoming a Supple Leopard by Dr. Kelly Starrett. It has, just like everything you would ever need. You just look in here and you're like, oh, what hurts? My shoulder. Okay. So we're going to talk about, what we need to do in order to get into these positions. He just talks about everything, like the body mechanics and everything like that. It's super important. So I definitely recommend this book. It is like a textbook. He wrote it up like this, but it's one of my favorites. And I've used it over the years with myself and with clients to help with those areas. As we get older, first of all, we're just older and our bodies are more beat up. It's not so much the age, it's the mileage, right? Uh, so it really is important to make sure that we're addressing any of those pains and aches and joint pains and things like that. And that's a really great book to utilize for even just for yourself to like advocating self-diagnosing, but kind of, because we know our own bodies. And I will listen to a client come to me, be like, you tell me what you think is going on, because sometimes they're right. They know more about their body and what's going on there. So it's really important to like listen to your body. And if you do have any joint pain, any nagging areas that are constantly bothering you, that you do seek out resources such as, read some books about it. Like look at these physical therapists. A lot of these guys, I've got another one inside the house that I've been looking at for my knees because my knee decided to blow up on me again last week. And I'm like, oh my God, couldn't even bend it all the way. And I have chronic knee issues. And this is something I know. And, we're going to just avoid knee replacements for as long as possible. But it doesn't stop me, and it can't stop you. Like the moment we stop moving is the moment we start to decay into ruin. So you got to keep moving. And a lot of us already have injuries coming into this. So just be aware of that and work around it. Look up ways that you can work around your current situation. Back squats are really difficult for me. I try and then I get mad and I stop because my knees do not like it. And it's really frustrating because I know I could get so much more out of my training if only I could do back squats, but it's okay because there's other things I could do. I really love goblet squats with my heels elevated because my knees don't hurt so bad. And then I can go all the way down. So when I do back squats regular, I barely get to parallel. And some days that's too much. And my knees are like, no, absolutely not. Other people have like shoulder injuries, things that they got to work around there. The important thing though, is that we do take the time to do our foam rolling, use a lacrosse ball and like dig in there and get into those areas that are really tight. Go get your massage. Go see Jessica at Touch of Harmony Massage if you're in Kennewick, in the Tri-City area, and get that work done. Go talk to Dr. Desiree Lyle over at Raise the Bar if you're having any chronic nagging issues with your form or anything like that. She can help you do an assessment and work through that so that your movement patterns are better and you're less prone to injury and you continue to train and move throughout your life in a way that is sustainable and minimizing pain while maximizing range of motion and strength and everything. Really, really important for our longevity. Muscle is a longevity organ, and the more that we can train it and keep it healthy, the longer we'll keep ourselves healthy. Okay. All right. And let's see what else we're going to talk about. So, how do you incorporate this into our daily routine? Well, one thing it's funny, I actually don't have it right here with me, but I am in my gym and I always keep a lacrosse ball. I have a lacrosse ball in my car. So it's just a little ball and you just like grab it and just dig into any areas that are feeling tight. I have a vibrating foam roller. I have one of those massage guns. Those things are great. And then just a regular old foam roller. But just taking the time during the day, set a timer and get up and move every 25 to 45 minutes, depending on how best you work and depending on what you're working on too. I don't want to interrupt your flow state. But getting up and moving is really beneficial. Not sitting for too long, making sure that when you are sitting that you're not, getting that tech neck thing. So taking movements. And that is the most effective way to keep your body healthy, is to do little tiny corrective exercises and mobility work throughout the entire day, as opposed to I'm going to do all of it in one session or a couple times a week. Doing it all the time is way more effective, and it's also more sustainable because it's not such a big deal. You don't have to take all this time out of your day. I need an hour for my warm up because I got all these issues. So it makes it so much easier to have that sustainable. If you guys need ideas on what to do, I do have some protocols actually that I've written up for other clients and I'd be happy just to share them with you. No, I don't need to, no cost. Just let me know. Like I've got these little books too, Mackenzie Method. These are great. And I mean, they're super small. He's got a hip one. I have the neck one. This one's really good. I've used this with several clients. Treat your own neck. But he's got a protocol in here of like these little exercises that you do several times a day, especially when you're having these acute issues. And it helps you to relieve your own neck pain and strengthen it. Same thing with his little hip book. He's got a knee book. These are great. But I wrote up these protocols and I'd be happy just to share them with you. So just send me a message and tell me what's going on, where you're having your pain, and I'd be happy to send that to you. Because it's just a great place to start. If you can treat yourself at home and start that process, you're going to get so much more out of it. All right. And then that covers how to integrate it into your busy routine, no matter how busy you are. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Almost 30 minutes there. So lots of different tools that you can use, books that are out there. Dr. Kelly's book, Becoming a Supple Leopard. I definitely recommend this book. I love it. It is my textbook go-to. I will forever be referring to this book. It has some really great exercises in there. And I have some other ones too. Built from Broken is one I can see on my desk right now. Scott Hogan, also physical therapist. I love my physical therapists. They're amazing. Dr. Desiree Lyle over at Raise the Bar in Richland. She is our go-to, especially for women's pelvic health. So you can search her. She's on Facebook and Instagram, Raise the Bar Physical Therapy, Dr. Desiree Lyle. She's wonderful. Go see Jessica Hewsome at Touch of Harmony Massage to go get your massage. She does wonderful work, and oh man, sometimes like self-care at home is also like, it's great, but sometimes you just need somebody else to get in there and she'll be gentle, by the way. But I'm one that like, I want work done. Get in there and fix it. I don't care if I'm going to be sore for the rest of the day. It's fine. So, all right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Again, DM us or send or comment Flat Belly if you want more information about the challenge that is opening up in January, and also get a free resource from us. And if you are a woman in Washington State and soon to be Oregon, I'll let you know when that goes through, who needs help with her hormones, you're over the age of 35, going through perimenopause and menopause, even if you're in denial, like my friend was this morning when I was talking to her. She's like, I'm not in perimenopause, but I haven't had a period in like 6 months. I'm like, okay. We can talk about it all we want. So if you are having any issues and you need help, I would love to help you. DM me hormone help and we can chat some more about it. If nothing else, I just want to be able to help you guys. Even if you don't end up working with me, that's okay. I got resources for you. Be happy, healthy, all the things, working through perimenopause. All right. I hope you all are having a wonderful Wednesday, and I will chat with you later. Bye.